From the mountains to the river flow, stories only locals know. Living local in the Hudson Valley. This is the HVP!
That's progress.
That's good. You got to get McDougal, as I call him, Rick McCormick,
Yeah.
out promoting it.
Yeah. Ricky, as I call him. Everybody calls him Rick now that he's growing up.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he's grown up.
Yeah, but do we ever really grow up? Right?
I can honestly say I haven't grown up, and I'm almost 50.
Yeah, like I've lost some hair and everything's gray, but I don't know that I'm any more grown than before.
It happens.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Me too.
Listen,
It's all good, baby.
that's it.
Hi. Welcome to the program.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great.
We got a guest in the studio today. We got a third man.
That's
we got
it.
the mayor of Middletown. How cool is that? We pulled some strings.
His Honor,
His honor.
Mayor DeStefano.
Yes.
Welcome.
Well, thank you. And you cut my grandson's hair, so how could I say no?
Well, I mean, I appreciate that, but we definitely wanted to have you on as one of our first guests because we're doing it here in your city, so we thought it was kind of meaningful to have you on.
Yeah.
So we're glad we got you. So thank you so much for coming on. Basically, we just like our basis here is we just want to have a conversation, and that's what we'd like to do with you today. So,
To be fair, and we've talked a lot since the podcast started about Middletown and like what a great city it is and has been. And while you see a lot of other small cities in the Hudson Valley kind of ebb and flow or, can't seem to quite get to the peak, you've consistently brought Middletown to another level. So we've mentioned that several times, so it's great to have you here so you can speak on some of the things that you've been doing. So I look forward to it.
Appreciating the kind words about the city. We are a stable city. We're not Scarsdale. We know who we are,
Right.
and we feel that we have a great team at City Hall of people who were either born here, like a Maria Bruni, or relocated here, like a Jacob Tawil, or live in the area, like our police chief, John Iwanchu. But the common denominator is they all care.
Yep.
They all care not only about their job, but they care about the community, and that certainly makes a difference.
Yeah, no, I agree. And when I lived in Middletown, one of the things I found really cool was the tree lighting was something you could always go to have a good time, but you didn't just see, to your point, you had a lot of police officers there, and not just police officers working, but cops like with their families,
Sure.
with their kids. And then the I don't know what it's called, but the it's one of the spring festivals or things that you do at the park down on Wickham there.
Throw Park. We just had it this past week.
Yes. So again, I remember going there and seeing again police officers there with their kids, right? Like you have Lieutenant Tholen was there with his family, and I just think that speaks volumes for the level of safety that they feel and the trust and the level of caring about the community. Like they're in it. They're immersed in the community.
And they're immersed in many ways too. What we did under Chief Iwanchu is we've taken a different approach to policing, and it's not only responding, but it's also deterrence and
Yep.
working a big focus on kids, a big focus on community events, not huge community events, but things like Thrall Park Kids Day they had this past Saturday,
That's what it
in
is.
which
Yeah.
hundreds of kids and their families came down. They had a hamburger, a hot dog, had certain booths set up, and they were able to go into police cars and talk to the officers in a non-confrontational way. And those relationships have borne a lot of fruit for us.
Yep.
And have resulted in a crime reduction that we truly believe is significant over the past 10 to 15 years, significant crime reduction. And of course, we are a small city. We deal with a lot of issues, society's issues, but at the same time, how your police department reacts is so key in how your community is going to grow. So I think a lot of kudos go out to Chief Iwanchu and his staff. Jeff Tholen and Eric Hargan are the bureau commanders, and
Yep.
they do a great job.
And I've worked with them. So the department that I used to work for 3 years ago, we were also partners in the Give Grant. So we would have a lot of the same meetings. We would be at a lot of the same trainings. We'd be at the crime symposium up in Albany every year. And I remember one year specifically, we were up there. This might have been a couple years ago. Yeah, a couple years ago. And there was a shooting in Middletown. And I was actually out to dinner with Lieutenant Tholen and Lieutenant Hargett. And when that call came in, I mean, there was no question they were leaving. They were in the car heading back from Albany to go to Middletown to make sure that they were there to supervise or investigate the shooting. And, so yeah, those are two really good leaders that you have.
One thing too, Tholen is really, really good. He takes the job very, very serious.
Yeah.
Like he was like one of the first guys on the scene because he happened to be going that way when they had that road rage incident last year over there in town of Way Honda with the guy and the off-duty officer. So yeah, he's definitely he's in big time. So and all the officers are great as well.
Yeah.
Like they did such a great job this weekend at the Ruthie Dino controlling it all and everything like that. Jordan and the crew, they really knocked it out of the park. So
yeah, and I think to the mayor's point, when you start looking at crime using data to drive your solutions, and you realize that like you have to do other things other than just put handcuffs on people, right? You have to start interfacing with the community more. You have to start building those connections with the kids, like you said, in a neutral environment, right? Where you're not, because most of the time people think that they see the police, and it's usually at their worst day. So when you can create all these community interactions where they get a chance to humanize themselves to the community, to the parents, to the kids, it takes away that, well, they're just cops. They start to know who they are. And when when their families are all around too, it's like, okay, well, they're just one of us. They're hanging out today.
Absolutely. I hope they didn't stiff you with a check that night when they ran out the door.
No, actually I made sure it was all squared up before
right.
No, I'm no dummy.
That's good. But, it's not only interaction with kids, but it's a different approach too. For example, about 3 years ago, we received a grant through Senator Skoufis's office, and that grant was focusing on bringing in a non-police personnel into the police station that would coordinate services.
Okay.
So they were getting chronic offenders, people who obviously had some issues in their lives that resulted in a lot of police contacts. Not necessarily crime, but a lot of police contacts.
Right.
So under that grant, we brought in a former worker with Catholic Charities, Stevenson Moncheray. Stevenson, you might know his son was the champion wrestler and state champ at the high school level, and now wrestles at Appalachia State. But
oh, wow.
yep,
but
Stefan,
yeah.
Yep.
So great people, but what Stevenson did is also he changed the way the department looks at issues, and he'll go out and coordinate. And when there's a crime, the police respond, but in between crimes is when Stevenson can make a difference.
Yep.
And we also brought in Fearless. We've embedded them in the police department.
I was going to say, you guys did that.
Yep. And Fearless, for those who don't know, Fearless is a domestic violence. It's the former Safe Homes project where addressing domestic violence issues. So the chief has taken a different approach, but also has been very strong and we have been very pro police and enforcement. We do practice a little bit of the broken windows theory of Rudy Giuliani. I'm very proud of Rudy Giuliani today, but back then I was. And we do believe that small things lead into big things, and that especially in that area, that when there's graffiti on a wall, we need to remove it as quickly as possible.
Yep.
Broken windows need to be replaced, and we're only a 5 square mile community, but we spend almost $60 million a year here in the city. So people can understand, get a understanding is that it's a big operation, and we have to do it well, and we have to have good staff in order to do it. And I'm fortunate to have that staff.
Yeah, it seems like everybody has a buy-in, and that's great, because you're right. If there's not a buy-in or there's any dissension, it just doesn't work, and the community suffers. To your point about the broken windows theory, yeah. Look, I know that's like, That's one of those old strategies, but I think there's still a need for it, especially in smaller communities. And it doesn't have to be a blanketed enforcement policy. You use your, you use data, you use your intel, and then there's the obvious, okay, there's graffiti, let's clean it up. And then in the background, you're figuring out, well, why is there graffiti here? Who's moving in? What's going on? And I think that's the other piece, that when broken windows happen, there was no data-driven strategies. There was no intelligence. It was just go out and blanket enforce everything on that block. And if you have a guy who worked 16-hour day and now he's sitting on the corner, drinking a beer, that guy got a ticket. Whereas nowadays, it might happen, but you're looking for more the cause of the violence and the cause of the crime, not just the hardworking people that are living in that community, because of whatever, just their circumstance in life puts them in that neighborhood, but they're not necessarily contributing to any of the negativity in that community, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, especially, for example, we have a unit called now the SIPTED.
Yep.
It's a crime prevention program where a small group of officers will go out and do neighborhood analysis. For example, the diner down the street,
Yep.
For the old Forum Diner. They submit a plan to the city, to myself and to the chief and to the public works commissioner on how to address certain issues in that area. We're working on them now. We're forcing the owner of the property to light it, the graffiti on the building, remove it,
Yep.
to pick up the illegal dumping that was happening in the back of the building. And we do that throughout the city. When we identify a problem area, the SIPTED unit will make a recommendation from the police perspective, and you merge that with the neighborhood perspective, and you come up with good solutions, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And SEPTED, which is crime prevention through environmental design, it incorporates, like you said, law enforcement perspective along with community input to make not necessarily an eyesore, but it can be an eyesore and a crime hotspot. Like, what can we do to improve the landscape here? And it might be putting up more streetlights. It might be putting up more trees. It could be any number of things. But that's great that you guys have a unit dedicated to that, because that's a big thing.
Throw Park is a perfect example. I don't know if you noticed, recently we put in some new sidewalks to the monuments.
Yes.
We also put in some streetlights, decorative streetlights, so that when the police are riding by, they're not looking into a dark area.
Yep.
They now can see shadows. They can see people or figures of people. Or we're in the parks after dark, and those were recommendations that were made through the SIPTED unit.
It looks nice.
Yeah.
It definitely looks nice.
Yeah, and it's funny because you see the changes.
It's just the little things,
right? And you don't know you don't know the why. And you don't really have to know the why, because you see the end result and it looks great.
Yeah.
But when you think of all the people that came to the table to help make that change possible, and then you now knowing that there's a SEPTED element to it too, makes me, the ex-police officer in me. I geek out to that stuff. I still teach.
It's like mowing lawns.
Yeah, it's like mowing lawns, man. Oh God, don't even get me started on Congress. Yeah, we'll talk for an hour about that, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry.
But speaking of, like you said, where the money's going and everything that's being done commerce wise around town, you fix the inlet of 211. You put the new curbs down. You're doing the corners. You're actually doing more corners now, like neighborhood by neighborhood every summer. I noticed that. We're getting an upgrade in my neighborhood.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
And we're getting paving. Yeah, they painted the manhole covers. Yeah, see, I'm paying attention to what's going on in the neighborhood, Joe.
Yep.
But, my big question is, up the street here, the old train station.
Yes.
We're in phase 2 of that now? Is that what I heard you say the one day when you were in here?
We are in the construction phase now, the reconstruction phase. Phase 1 was stabilizing the building, mitigating the environmental issues, the asbestos and so on. Phase 2 is the actual reconstruction. It's a $44 million project.
It's incredible.
That project would never, and just in a private sector, ever be done. We were able, and this was through Maria Bruni's office and Jacob Tawil, the engineering that was required, him coordinating with the specialists in that field, and the local engineers, Al Fusco, but the specialist on the restore side was CNS out of Syracuse. But we were able to secure a tenant. The tenant is runs Head Start. That we were then able to form a local for-profit company that would rent from basically lease from the city. That made them eligible for new market tax credits, which is a federal program. It made them eligible for the state and historic tax credits, which are state and federal credits, and they sell those credits. So we basically have netted out about $11 to $12 million just alone in tax credits. We had another 13 to 14 million in grants. We used some of the ARPA money from our COVID days as part of that. There's a $10 million investment by Recap for the interior build out. We're financing it for now, but as they get grants, they'll buy that down. So it came at a cost to the city, but the council was unanimous that we want to make this happen. We had a lot of false starts over 20 years, and but this is not a false start. This is actually construction underway. The roof is now off. It's going to be reconstructed, the roof. The north tower that was damaged in fire was torn down, but will be rebuilt with the same bricks. That's part of the requirement of historic preservation. So it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful project when done. We acquired some property next door for parking. It's a requirement of the Head Start program, but the partnership between us and Recap worked. 20 years ago, we were suing each other. Today, we're working together on a $44 million project that is an iconic building in the city and really will make a difference as a gateway to downtown.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what it's going to look like, because I got here right before they had the big burning of it, right before it all went down. So, and I can remember going in there, they had like little shops in there and stuff like that. So,
Well, back in my early 20s, it was a nightclub.
yes, I heard about that. A discotheque. All the older gentlemen that come in here, they talk about it. That was a discotheque, Scotty. I'm like, oh, okay.
Really?
You're saying the older gentlemen that come in here.
Yeah.
And talk
like the
about
guys that were going here in the 70s, that were hanging out. It was a discotheque.
It was a hot place.
That's what I heard.
Oh, wow.
I know my friend's mom, when she got married, they went in there, they had like a grand staircase, and they went in there and they took their wedding photos in there. You know how you go like in between the wedding and the reception?
Yeah,
They went in there and took the pictures.
No kidding.
Because it was such a beautiful old building. So I'm excited to see.
Wedding reception there. So
You did?
I did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Not my current wife, but my
I was picking up on that. You didn't have to throw yourself under the bus. It's all good, though.
Full disclosure, right?
We appreciate your honesty.
Anyone that was at my wedding to Linda saying, he's lying.
Yeah, no, we didn't. You weren't there. But yeah, I think having Recap can be a really strong partner when things align. So I'm happy to hear that, because I think it's ironic how the tide has changed, but
I think when you work with not-for-profits.
Yep.
And I was recently one of the panelists or speakers at the Newburgh Ministry Summit.
Okay.
And along with John Williams, who's on our school board, 3 mayors, myself, Torrance Harvey from Newburgh, and Mayor Flowers from Poughkeepsie, and there were a couple other people on the panel. And we were talking about the relationship between cities and the faith community.
Yep.
And I did address that, over the years, we can have confrontation because we have different goals and different missions.
Right.
Their goals and their mission is to help people, no matter how.
Right.
They want people to be, housed. They want people to be have certain services, and we want all those same things as cities. But we also have responsibility to the community. We need to do economic development. We need to have jobs. We need safety. We need parks. We need all the things that make a community, rather than just housing people with special needs. That's a burden that must be shared by many communities,
right,
and not 1 or 2 in the county. So we had a great discussion. I thought it was very fruitful. They taught me a few things. I taught them a few things, I hope. But the bottom line is, as I mentioned, Recap 20 years ago, us suing and them suing us. It was the same thing with Honor, the homeless shelter.
Yeah.
Where I didn't like the way they were operating. And we lost communication. We became very combative with each other. And we're we're able to work that out over the years. And now the city is we're the landlord for the warming center.
Oh, you guys are. You guys are officially the landlords there
We are
now?
the landlord. We put them in. We used some COVID money. We renovated the old Mulberry House by the police station, and we provide funding. It's not a city program, but we provide funding, and we are very successful at it. And some people in our community don't like the fact that we do things like that. But we have to.
Yeah.
People also have to understand we are a city, and by tradition of cities, we are the incubator of people.
Yes.
And we get all kinds. We get a lot of people with special needs, absolutely, but we have to work through that and in-house people, especially in cold weather.
Yeah, well, it's all fun and games until they start sleeping in your alley, let me tell you.
Exactly. True.
Somebody was out here camping a couple of weeks ago. I had to clean up a mess on Memorial Day weekend. I was like, what happened?
Yeah. Somebody dropped a deuce in the alley.
Well, that too. That was another one. That was a different time. Yeah, that just happened. So
But yeah, I think when you're in a city and you have a diverse population, the faith-based community is really like they have to be an ally, at some point. But to your point, you have to explain to them that we have some fiscal responsibility here. Like it can't just be on your terms, like what you want when you want it. Like we want to meet you in the middle, because every faith-based community has a separate list of wants and needs, right? So it's like, how do we marry all these up? But I think that, you've done a pretty good job of, doing what's best for everyone in the city, because that's the thing, and you're not going to make everybody happy.
Exactly.
But you can't cave in or concede every time. You're like, well, I want this person to no. Like, what's best for everyone?
Good point. And realistic. That's the big thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What can we
It's
afford to
logical,
do,
and
and
what
how
can we afford to do?
and what's
How
safe?
can we partner with other people like Honor or like Recap, but also at the same time be able to create jobs where people can possibly get out of homelessness and work at Polycraft, which is a new factory we were able to track working with the Orange County Partnership. It's on Industrial Drive off of Highland Avenue Extension. It's about 120 jobs.
Wow.
They bought a 25,000 square foot building. They expanded it with an additional 80,000 square feet. Basically a clean business, very low emission, but it's opportunity for people to work and decent jobs.
Right.
I mean, there are different levels of jobs, but there are some high-end jobs. We're looking at the former Playtogs building to do something similar.
Oh, okay, yeah, because the tenant backed out on that one.
Yeah,
I guess,
the
right?
tenant backed out. They had like some fights with the Playtogs property is really weird. It's not owned by one person. It's
Okay.
owned by 2 or 3 different groups, and they fight. And they put up curbs.
Naturally.
Block the other one. They put up fences. So we're trying to work through all that, but we do have a nice tenant. On its surface, looks like a nice tenant. I sent a letter of support for the project to the partnership, and also saying, hey, we now have to go through the planning board process to make sure everything that presented to us is true, especially on the environmental side. But it's going to be probably 100+ jobs.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not a lot of truck traffic, and according to them, no emissions.
Oh, that's great.
And those are great things that we're working on. And we have a great partnership working with Connor Eckert at the Orange County Partnership. Prior to him was Maureen Hallahan. And listen, government is about developing relationships.
Yep.
We've been able to do that with Albany, and I think that's why we've had a lot of success on that level. We've been able to do it locally. This morning I met with Steve Newhouse with a group from Middletown, and we're trying to make some other project work in the city. And, Steve and I are opposite parties. We're friends.
Right.
And we bust each other's chops, but we do have a friendship, a relationship, and had some success in moving projects forward with him. Like the Amy's Kitchen project.
Oh yeah.
Amy's hasn't come about, but we were able to run water and sewer lines down into the town of Goshen to serve Amy's.
Wow.
In exchange for that, we were given water rights to the Indigo water reservoir out in the town of Mount Hope and the town of Waukeil. Amy's didn't come about. Goshen is now forming a water district. They have a water shortage. The pipes are close by. So we then cut a deal with Goshen for them to buy some of our water. Helps us out on the revenue side, but it helps the region out on the economic development side. Because the Amy's would have been hundreds and hundreds of jobs. So, but that was done because of relationships that I built with Steve, and vice versa. We trust each other, and we were able to move this projects forward. And that's what government comes down to. It's not name calling all the time. You can have disagreements, but it's also developing and expanding on those relationships.
And that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something we always preach on here. Like, it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. Like, and like we told you today was just about having a conversation with you. And that's what it's about. People need to have conversations. If you don't line up, it's okay. You don't have to get mad at each other. There's a way to talk around it. Like, you don't necessarily have to be right, and they don't necessarily have to be right. You can agree to disagree, but you just have to be calm and cool about it. Like you said, you break each other's chops friendly, but at the end you come together for the cause.
Yeah, there's a common goal.
Yeah.
Right? And like the common goal is what's best for the people of the city of Middletown, or for Steve Newhouse, what's best for the county. And where do we align in the middle somewhere, right? And I think you're right. Like, I'm glad you brought it up, because that's exactly what I was thinking.
I wrote it down as soon as he said it. Steve and me are friends. I was like, bang.
Yeah, I was like, because we talk about the importance of local politics, and it's not so much about party lines. It's about who's going to actually do what you need them to do or what you want them to do, and who serves your community the best. And I think that to your last point, like you mentioned, bringing in jobs, right, and opening the factory on Highland Avenue Extension. If it's one thing as a small city leader, I'm sure you hear all the time, and because I've heard it before also, is like, well, we need jobs. We need jobs. Okay. So now, like you said, you bring in a myriad of different jobs, low-level jobs, upper-level jobs, because the hardest part for people that don't have a lot of means is you get them a job, and they're in the city of Middletown, but you get them a job somewhere by the town of Walk Hill, Montgomery line somewhere. Well, how are they going to get there?
Exactly. Well, and Orange County is very car dependent.
Yes, it totally. So that's it. If you're bringing in jobs, you have to bring in jobs. They got to be here. So
That's one of the areas where Steve and I have had discussions on the other side, where we've butted heads a little bit on that, is I believe there should be a countywide bus network similar to what Rockland and Westchester have.
right.
And now the legislature has just passed the funding to do a study on that, and to connect Middletown to Monroe Woodbury or to Woodbury Commons.
Yep.
Not so much for the retail part of it, but for the jobs part.
Right.
You can't stop running the bus at 5 o'clock. You need to have the bus run till 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock when the shifts end.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a lot of coordination. I know it's not as simple as it's being said, but it is a discussion that is now beginning in earnest because of the fact that the legislature passed the funding for this study. And that'll benefit all of us. The bus goes two ways.
Yep.
And
right.
we bring people into the community also. Same thing with the Heritage Trail. The trail goes two ways. It's not only heading out to Goshen, but the trail comes from Goshen into Middletown also.
Right.
And the switch-in's doing quite well, I think, with the trail.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
You ride your bike in 5 miles, and then you have a beer.
Yeah.
What's better than that?
Yeah, you get some wings and cancel everything you just did that was healthy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then you got to ride back anyway. So
Well, no, if you live here in Middletown, you park
right.
there. That's
No.
where the parking lot is.
Oh, yeah.
You get dropped off in Goshen and ride.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
There you go.
But that then again moves something else. The train station that's there, the former Middletown, New Jersey train station, we purchased that.
Okay.
And now we're redeveloping that to historic standards. We're going to have an incubator business in there. We're going to have a little mini city office space there, maybe with a kiosk so we can show people, hey, downtown is a half a mile away. Here's a list of restaurants. Here's a list of bars. Here's a list of barbershops or salons or whatever you want. But again, it's another form of communication.
Yeah.
You're communicating with people and letting them know what you have. You're here. You can also go over here and meet up with all of these things here, or stay here and have a beer and wings at the Switch.
Yeah.
Exactly. I want to talk about downtown. Thank you for bringing that up, because I don't know when exactly you became mayor. I moved here in '93, and when I got here, downtown was in rough shape. It wasn't an easy place to be all the time. I used to go to the downtown bar all the time, because because that was a good place to see live music back in the olden days. But I got to tell you, you have completely turned it around. You're talking commerce a few minutes ago. I don't think there's an empty suite downtown
Well,
at this point.
nothing empty that wants to be full. 'Cause
Exactly.
there's some people are playing that little vacancy game where they think they hit the jackpot.
Yeah, so
with
they're
their
holding
property.
on to
They're
it.
holding on, right?
Yeah.
But I got elected in '93 to mayor.
You did.
I
Okay.
did. I had a 4.5-year hiatus from '05 to '09. But the fact that you recognize it is not is important because I lived here my entire life. I knew the city when it was in the '60s and early '70s when we were prospering. Then the city made some bad decisions with others. We let the railroad move out. We closed down streets and made one-way streets and put up canopies like Kingston did, and they're tearing theirs down now too. We tore them down many years ago. We created a one-way traffic loop around the downtown. So if you were going to go downtown, you couldn't go up East Main Street and go to DeFilippi's. You had to go make a right on Orchard, go around, come up West Main, and then go into DeFilippi's. So, and that we had to do that for 20 years. Otherwise, pay back all the money that they took in order to do the changes, which was well over $1 million.
I forgot it was like that. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah.
So we made we brought together people in the community, especially business leaders in the downtown area, and said, what are the problems? They identified the problems, and we just worked on getting solutions. And a lot of it had, again, those relationships that you develop, the competitions that we got in. In 1996, we had the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. That's a state program started by then Governor Cuomo and Lieutenant Governor Hochul at the time. She practically lived here. We won the first round. It was a $10 million grant. We took that $10 million and we made that $10 million $50 million by leveraging it with other government funds and other private investment. And we were able to do all of this work and then expand outside of the district up to Highland Avenue with Highland and West Main area with sidewalks. New sidewalk on Dolson Avenue, which never had sidewalks, making it walkable now to go to ShopRite rather than walking in a 4-lane, 5-lane highway. And we're trying to expand the sidewalk replacement program. But, a community can't afford to do that on its own. It's probably $7,000-$8,000 to do a 50-foot length sidewalk and curb.
Oof.
Oh yeah.
And so but we keep applying for grants. We get them piece by piece, and we're doing them. And you mentioned the intersections. We're making them all ADA compliant. So we can make a change at the corners. We just can't go all the way up the street. And now we're thinking of ways to possibly incentivize the homeowner. Maybe we can do a grant to individual homeowners of, maybe 30%, 40% if they do it on their own, and then do some sidewalk replacement. So we try to be creative. We have a good team that comes up with some creative ideas. And we also participate in things like Conference of Mayors. We're our National Main Street or the National League of Cities to get ideas. We're not this big brain trust down there where we're creating all these ideas. We're looking at the success in other communities and how they've implemented change in their communities.
And this is why it's great and smart to keep an open mind and talk to people.
Absolutely.
Well, and also to have the humility to know that, like, I don't know everything. But I need to know where I can go to get the answer, right? And if you have a guy who's a mayor or a lady who's a mayor of another city and hey, this is really working well for you. How'd you do it? Great. You know what? We'll do it right here.
And that's basically it. And then, we have our internal arguments with departments and stuff that, if you want to do something, you got to convince me first.
Right.
And then I had to convince the Common Council to fund it. But we have the ability that behind closed doors with our department heads, they can say anything they want. They can call me a jackass if I believe in something, or I can call them one back and say, your idea has no basis and you're a fool. But in the end, we come to an agreement. We move the project forward if it's movable, and then we make it work. And I've had department heads say to me, "Hey, I don't agree with it, but you and the council make the final decision, so we're going to make it work." And we've had the reverse too, where I didn't think things would happen, and where projects weren't going to work, and they reluctantly convinced me, and they worked. And so it's a partnership, and it's a great partnership, but it's also community. And don't forget the people in the community that support you, that give you the thumbs up when you're making these investments. A lot of communities want to say, "Hey, reduce my taxes, reduce my water bill, reduce this, reduce that, cut crime, throw more police, add more firemen, do all these things, build me sidewalks, but cut my taxes." Well, that can't happen.
Nope.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you want your city to improve and you live in that city and you enjoy all the things about that city, but you have to make, it can't stay stagnant. You has to constantly be evolving and improving. And that increases revenue, that increases traffic and business and people coming to see your city. So like that all comes at a cost. And, Middletown is still a very affordable place to live.
Yes.
And in Middletown too, a gentleman told me this. My buddy Kamal that owns Beer King, actually.
Oh, yeah.
He told me this. They do have assistance if you're like a homeowner in Middletown and you need things like a new roof and stuff like that, correct? Right? Siding as well. And
we have a federal program. You have to qualify on income levels.
yes.
But we do have a program as part of the federal program, Community Development Block Grant. But we also have a home ownership program that we run where we have taken tax foreclosed properties. We rehab them 100%, new roof, new kitchen, new siding, whatever's necessary. And if you qualify an income basis for the mortgage, there's a state buy down, there's a federal buy down, there's a local buy down on the mortgage. So, for example, the house could appraise for $350,000 when completed. You'll probably get into the house for under $300,000. But the conditions are you have to live there for 10 years because we don't want you flipping the house.
Of
that
course.
We just upsize you to go in. We're on our 21st house.
That's great.
Yep. So we took properties that were dilapidated and an eyesore and dragging down neighborhood values. And we have families living in them now. We just completed a two-family on Washington Street. The buyer's a nurse at Garnett. Her parents live on the other side.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And it's a win-win for everybody.
That's excellent.
And we, so if anyone's interested, contact the Economic Development Office, 346-4170, and we can put you on the list. We farm out the selection so that there's no political influence in it to a group called Pathstone. They do the backgrounds. They do the training that is required. If you're a first-time homeowner, we require you to take a little bit of a training course to become familiar with its responsibilities of being a homeowner are. But it's a great program. And, it came about because we try to compete with Newburgh for the land bank funds from the state. But Newburgh had a bigger need. And I understand it. I understand the state's choice. So we try to become more creative. And this is what we came up with about 4 or 5 years ago. And it's a great program.
It's awesome because there's been a couple of people in my neighborhood that got new siding. So,
Yes.
that's fantastic.
I was going to say, when I lived in Middletown, my neighbor was,
same neighborhood. Yeah, I remember.
yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot all about that.
Are we doing handicap ramps if someone needs a ramp, accessible ramp? We have a lady now on Prince Street that has the old knob and tube wiring.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to take care of that. And we do probably about 15 houses a year for rehab.
Okay.
And it's as far as the money will go.
But that's good though because that keeps that's the upkeep on the city.
Exactly.
Right.
That's back to the broken windows, no graffiti, all that stuff.
Right.
Because if you got the eyesore, it becomes the eyesore.
Absolutely, it just spreads.
And there's that's, when you own your home versus, and there's great renters too. I'm not suggesting there aren't, but when you own your home, you own a piece of the place you live.
Absolutely.
Right? So you're more vested and you're more willing to take care of your home, you're going to be out on the sidewalk sweeping up garbage or cleaning up your sidewalk, keeping your grass nice, right? It all comes out.
It's all back to
yeah,
grass.
it's all I care about are the stripes on my lawn. So, in offering more people the opportunity for home ownership, I think only, it just increases the buy-in for the people that live in the city.
Agreed.
I have another question for you about some development I see going on in the city. Can we talk about what's happening at Maple Hill Park? What are they digging up over there?
Well, that's a fitness center,
Okay.
outdoor fitness center.
Yes.
But next to it will be the splash pad where the old.
Oh, you guys are putting in a splash pad there.
Yes.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah, the pool
It's no
to
good.
hell, and it would require about $3 million investment.
Yeah.
And our pool numbers are down actually. So over the years, and we struggled with getting lifeguards. This year we're okay, but the past 3 or 4 years, we've actually had to close the pool on some days because of lack of lifeguards. We're now competing with all the apartment complexes
Yeah.
for the students and who are certified. So we decided to go to Splash Pad. It doesn't require a lifeguard and focus on young kids. But adjacent to that or next to that will be the Senator Skoufis is able to secure I think it was a $250,000 grant towards about a 400 or 350 project. It'll be outdoor fitness equipment. I think some type of wall for I don't know if it's handball or.
Okay.
I'm not the most athletic guy in my, so I approach my 70s, so I don't know the exactly what the items will be in this, but it's gonna be nice. And we chose Maple Hill because we're trying to get more people to use the park and have it more than just for kids' playground. We have the playground, which is beautiful, and we'll have the splash pad. We have the pond if they want to do a little fishing, picnic pavilions, and
Yeah, the
and all those
picnic
different-
pavilions are where it's at over there in Maple Hill. And then the dog park. We love the dog park.
Absolutely.
I'm at the dog park a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
so-
dog park is great.
We dig the dog park. My dogs love it.
Before we moved, that was our playground.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would head right to Maple Hill.
Yeah, Maple Hill, they got a very strong playground too.
Yeah.
Very strong
Yes,
playground. And not many people go to it, unfortunately. So,
No, and,
you know.
and honestly, like that was part of the reason we liked it was because it's in Middletown, but it's not too far from where we live.
No.
Right, right.
Well, that's a good thing. It's like you said, what, 5 square miles?
Yeah.
5 square miles.
Nothing's too far from where you live when you live in Middletown.
No, exactly. That's the one thing, there's a lot of things I miss since we've left and gone out to Minnesink. And it's all those little things. It's the tree lighting. It's, all the shops and restaurants and everything like right around the corner.
Feel free to come back for the tree lighting. We love when people come out
No, for sure.
from outside the community, and we actually doing some promotion. We hired a marketing company to try to bring people back into the city, because there is some fear.
Well,
You can't discount that the perceptions are realities in people's minds.
oh, for sure.
And we do get that negative part from some people that, hey, I was downtown and somebody asked me for money. Well, guess what?
That's going to happen anywhere.
That happens everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can say, as somebody, who is in law enforcement, who's very cautious about where I would bring my wife and my kids, the Middletown tree lighting was not that.
Yeah,
Ever.
exactly.
Ever. Like it was one of our favorite things to do. So we will be back.
And I got to tell you, so like I first went to my first one of those 5 years ago with Lauren's family, or 6
Yeah.
years ago with Lauren's family, and how much it has grown since then.
Oh,
I
yeah.
now have a float, or I'm in the parade every year now with the barbershop.
Oh.
It's insane. Like it used to be like 5 or 6 floats, the Middletown band. Now you got the Fallen Gone. They have a couple different things in there. The Boy Scouts. You had Lukey was in
Yeah,
it the one
so-
year with the Cub.
Yeah, the
Cub
last
Scouts.
time I
Yeah.
went was
The
we,
sports teams, everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
massive. Like now they got like last year I think they had them lined up in the parking lot where we always line up and on the
Yeah.
street, and then they were behind the Masonic Temple
Oh, okay.
over there getting ready too. So that was insane. I'm so happy. It's such a great night.
It's a great community night, and
Yes.
we're trying to do more of those. But we also want people to feel comfortable coming here. Like Saturday and Sunday morning, you come downtown, the coffee shops are full.
Yep.
Yes.
People are walking the streets like they were 40, 50 years ago. People walking with their kids. It's really, when people go to like a New York City, you look for a neighborhood. You go to Little Italy or Chinatown. What we have a pretty diverse downtown business community that caters to all.
Yeah, it's
you-
literally all
you're-
rolled into one.
We're
Yeah.
like a neighborhood. We're like
Yeah.
a New York City neighborhood. And so we appreciate people from outside the community coming in and leaving a few dollars in downtown for the, that's how And I think it's looks out for them too, because suburbia needs a good center. They need the urban. They need the core, the old core of the apple type of theory, where without a strong center, all of that problems would then spread out to your neighborhood. I think I just saw on Facebook a couple of masked guys out in Minnesink.
Yes, smashing on doors.
Right,
Oh,
smashing
yes,
doors.
I did see that. Yeah.
And that's a scary thing. Now I don't know where they came from,
Right.
but that plays into fear. So the fact that you got to be pay attention no matter where you are.
Yeah.
Correct.
And you, Scott, you mentioned that yourself. But if they go down to a Broadway show and somebody asks them for $1, they'll be back next month with Broadway tickets and do the same thing. But if they come to like a Middletown or part of the waterfront in Newburgh or Port Jervis, there's a fear factor when it's
Yes.
local. And we need to overcome that. We're doing some marketing. We've hired a company, and we not that we're not happy with what we're getting now. Businesses are busy. We had the Paramount show. Carolyn Ray was there Saturday night. The restaurants were all busy and packed. And when we do a show at the Paramount, people do come, but we want to capture everything we can. Like we're like that, like a Disney World mentality. We want you to spend your money here. We don't want you to go out to a different place. We want to keep it here.
Well, I think it was 2 weeks ago I saw you on a Friday night downtown. We love downtown because where we live, we're able to walk there.
Yeah.
Which just like adds a whole new element because then there's no rules. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
And that's just what we did. We went down. We stopped. The reason why I saw him was because we stopped by the bandstand because it's every Friday night now through September, correct?
Correct.
All right. So they got live music and it's free.
Yeah.
And you even provide chairs, right? I saw chairs there.
Yeah.
So there's chairs. So you don't even have to bring your own lawn chair if you don't want to. And then, there's like 30 different restaurants maybe in that area that you can go grab food at and come back and sit there in the square and watch a band and have a great time. And like I said, it's a different type of music every week. Jimmy Sturr plays every year.
He'll be there right around July 4th.
Okay.
Because the 4th of July celebration. And then Thursday nights in the Run for Downtown Park.
That's right. I forgot about
They
that.
have smaller groups. Again, it's we don't provide chairs there. But there's some benches and things you could sit on.
It's a
Not the
tiny
bigger crowd.
It's
a smaller
tiny.
park.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a tinier little park, but it's amazing. Like it's so cool that they do all that. And right across you got Piccolo Cucina right next to that. Then you got the
Alondra's across the street.
Alondra's,
Around
the old
corner, you got
downtown,
Zapata.
and then you got the new Indian place down there
King Street.
on
yeah.
King Street, which you can't drive on,
No.
but you can walk down it.
You can walk down it right to the parking lot on James Street. It's a short walk.
Yep.
And then if you're into coffee shops, there's you got Mr. Croissant,
Yeah.
which is just one of the. I blame him for being a little chunky here. But we have
And he's got the sandwich place across the street.
La Fata.
Yeah, there you go. I
And
couldn't
we
remember the
have
name.
Days Coffee, which is a coffee house that they actually great coffee.
That's good stuff. That's I call that rocket fuel. They got the market on that. That's
Absolutely.
amazing coffee. Yeah, I think it's like an Americano based coffee. It's
Let's go down by Oak and Reed.
Oak and Reed is fantastic, and then at night the bakery next door turns into a burger joint. I think
Absolutely.
Thursday,
Northwind.
Friday, Saturday. Yep.
Oh, really?
Northwind. Yeah, we had it Saturday night. Me and the
That's cool.
kid. Yeah, he was like,
And the old Montgomery Ward across the street is going to be for commercial. It's being done to historic standards.
okay,
24 apartments upstairs.
okay,
Wow.
And that's a big part of our redevelopment is live and work.
Yes.
Where you feet on the street. If you don't have if you don't have people living downtown, you're missing a big market.
Yes.
You had mentioned about I'm not going to say the community, but a community you're familiar with that was dead after a certain period of time.
Yep.
Right. And so people living downtown create markets for those smaller shops.
Yes.
I know I'm out for coffee almost every day, 7:15, 7:30 in the morning, and I'll hit a different coffee shop every day. And I know some people's schedules. I
Yeah.
know one guy, he's in the Elks. He stops downtown every single day. He gets his coffee and maybe his morning breakfast or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's how you meet people too.
yeah,
Yep.
And that's part of the uniqueness of having this. You're not going to a drive-in.
Right.
You're going to sit physically in a little store, local person running it, and that's the person like Scotty's Barber sponsoring Little League or whatever the hell I know my grandson played on your team
Yep.
in minor leagues.
I moved on to run for downtown now.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's good. But all of those things are important for the community.
Yep.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
we But it's creating an atmosphere of safety and security. Cleanliness is important for an urban area. We pick up garbage 7 days a week in downtown.
Yep.
And the
But
parks.
I
And the
believe
bar-
it.
And the
yes.
parks.
7 days a week, because we don't want people seeing a bottle that somebody threw last week over in the same gutter a week later when they're there. Then they think to themselves, hey,
Well-
what's going on here?
It goes back to what you said, which is one of my favorite sayings: perception's reality.
Yep.
So it's easy for somebody to pick up that perception. And now, I mean, like you said with the story in Minnesink with the two masked kids or whatever they are, but like that with social media now, that's one more thing that communities or cities, as a leader, you know this, you have to combat, because you get one person who feels like they've been wronged, and then they go to the internet, and now suddenly they get a small, they get a small following of people that start to believe the same thing. And, I've always said there's three sides to a story, right? And the truth lies somewhere in the middle.
Exactly.
So
I have a quick fix. For anybody that complains, it's real easy. All you got to do, go get some Holy Dog gift cards, mail them out, send them to Chino, and let Chino cheer him up. Because that guy, man,
Is he the best?
if he don't make you happy when you leave there, you have
and
something wrong with it.
You don't want to be happy.
Yeah, you don't want to be happy, because that guy is the nicest guy, and he goes out of his way with 1,000 people in there and 1,000 people wrapped around the
He makes
corner.
you all feel like
He's still
you're a
Chino.
part, man,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. So
Back to the Minnesink. We just had a young lady from Minnesink, Sarah, open Sunshine Bowl. It's
oh yes,
yeah, it's great there. It's it's smoothies and us.
Asiya Asiya balls.
My wife
Asiya
eats that every
balls.
morning for breakfast. I
Yeah.
still don't know how to say it.
And it's just she's energetic. She
Yes.
is a good business person. She loves being there, and we're hoping that people support her so she can stay there.
Yeah.
And it's a different type of business. It's not a barbershop.
Right.
It's not a beauty salon. We're starting to see these other businesses.
Yeah, like
It's a new business.
Yeah,
They're all over the place. Like, this is what things are happening. So, and I agree. I hope people use her, because she's got a really great business. It's super clean in there. It's in the old Opera House, right? That was an Opera House.
Bowles Opera House.
Yep. So it's an amazing, and it's right next to the park,
Right
where they
next
have
door.
the Celebration Square, right? Is that what it's called?
Degnan Square.
Degnan Square.
And
Right.
that's where the she's a good business person. She knows there's going to be people at the park on Friday nights. She stays open later on Friday.
Well, that's smart.
and she's the community hopefully will give her a shot, and I see people from her neighborhood coming into and that's bringing people from Minnesink Valley into downtown.
Yeah, I mean, most of us are from, in some way or another, we've come from here, but I think if somebody's willing to risk, they're going to come to Middletown and put it all into a niche business, right? Because like you said, it's not a barbershop, it's not a diner, it's a very niche market. Like, I think that goes to show how much faith and how invested she is in Middletown.
Absolutely.
And she knew, like, this was the place to go. She didn't go. There's another couple places around that she could have went, and she didn't.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
I think that's another feather in your cap.
But we're also lucky too, because we got a lot of niche businesses in downtown
that's what I
Middletown.
mean.
You got him. You got Steve Keeler and Rock Fantasy. That Steve's a legend.
Yeah, he's like the first niche business.
He's
been
like the
here.
unofficial mayor of Middletown. Like,
Yeah.
one of the first people when you move to town, you go see is Steve, to see what the hell is Rock Fantasy.
Especially
Right.
if you're in a rock.
And pinball and everything else that he has in there. Now he's a record store,
Yeah.
and I mean, so you got him, you got this girl with the Asiya bowls, we got an empanada store. I mean, it's
Lydia's
just
empanadas are great.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
everything is great.
Equilibrium Brewery. You got two
And
locations.
EQ, like I told Joe, has some of the best barbecue in the area. So, like, if you're going like out of town, you're crazy, because you can just get it here
Yes.
with very exceptional beer. You got the Cadence Urban Wine Bar now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great little place.
Yeah.
And they do like a wine and cheese night once a month. You can get more information on that on social media from them. I mean, there's just so many things now downtown. It's unbelievable.
Well, again, it's that environment of you'll want to go out, and if you're there for dinner, you might want to go around the corner for dessert.
Yeah.
Yeah, take that walk. Like I mentioned it a couple of times at Little Italy in New York. When I go there for dinner, I don't have dessert at the restaurant. I
No.
go down to
Ferraris.
Right. Get another. Yeah.
exactly.
That's like if you have dinner in downtown, you go to Joe's wife's restaurant, the Old Erie, and you get her cheesecake because her cheesecake is phenomenal.
She does a good job.
It's a crazy job.
It works too hard.
We already talked about. I love the chicken parm there. Like I can't
That's
get it.
so basic.
I know it is,
so
but
basic.
it's so good. If you find something that works, you stick with
She
it.
does a good job. Her and my sister Maria,
Yeah.
they do a good job, and we're happy. We've been there since
Forever.
1992 downtown,
Wow.
but we opened it on Beatty Avenue in Prince in 1981.
Wow.
So we're in our
wow.
45th year of restaurant business in downtown, and for a while we had both.
And you grew up here, right?
Yeah, born and raised. I lived
Over here, right here in Little Italy, right here in downtown Middle.
started
Offshoot
on
of-
Montgomery Street and ended up on Prince Street. We made a big move about 3 blocks.
Wow, that's crazy. That's
And
excellent.
that's when it was Little Italy, you know.
Yeah,
And the demographics changed,
yeah.
but
Right.
it's still
But that's everywhere.
still a comfortable neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, you see, I was thinking about it yesterday. I was over there. I was running across town, and I decided to cut through there. And I cut down to one street, and the one guy still has his grape arbor up there in the front yard,
Yeah.
in the front corner of his yard. So, there's still the roots are still there. Some of the places you go around town, you look, you see the grape arbors in the backyard still.
And the old Bruni's Bakery is now a Mexican bakery,
Oh, is it?
but it's a bakery.
That's
And
great.
Good product, and
Yeah.
we have downtown. We have Ecuadorian bakeries at the Colombian Bakery.
Yeah. The
and-
Colombian one is really.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
and it's great to experience those different types of pastries that the different cultures have. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so interesting, and I meet a lot of people that come into town just for that purpose now. A young lady opened up at 8 North Street. It's Con, I can't say it, it's in Spanish, but it's basically a Puerto Rican
Coffee shop,
Coffee
right?
shop,
Yeah.
great. And I was there at 9:30 today, and she was packed,
All the time.
and she's always busy.
Yeah, every time I go, I usually try to walk the dogs downtown every Sunday or Monday morning because they love it down there. And every time I go past her, she's packed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think she started off inside the bank, right?
She started inside the the
Well,
old bank.
Yeah, the old
bank.
TD Bank. It was
Her
Seneca's
stripper
shop.
CDs were
Yeah.
Seneca's, yeah. She had like a little coffee kiosk. The landlord here cut her a break on rent, and she was able to relocate there. And we're so happy to have her and Sarah and the other businesses. I mean, they really, and these are business people too. They're not someone just trying to open a business.
Yeah.
They're like a merchant. They know they have to be open. Like our Vicky at 6 North Street.
Yes, I saw her
What a
too
great place.
recently.
The tea shop in the back. I mean, these are all just unique operations that we're now seeing. With the, I'm not a big teetotaler, but I'll drink
Right.
tea once in a while. But the fact that when you go in there, you'll see a lot of women meeting and not afraid to park their car over on East Main Street and walk over. So attitudes they're changing. They
Yeah.
change. Things change. They happen over time, but it's happening, and we're very proud of the fact that it's happening. And we've made a huge investment of money and time into the community, and the public is responding.
Well, I think it's really brilliant too. Whoever came up with the idea to make, like you said, Montgomery wards where the retail's going in there along the side across the courtyard or whatever you want to call it, park from the other business that's there. That adds like a whole new layer. That'd be like 6 different shops right there.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, we did an easement. That's a park, public park, and they both had these big, long storefronts. Like Montgomery Ward, with an entry in the front and an entry on the back, or exit on the back, 7,000 square feet, I think. No one's opening a 7,000 square foot
Right. That's huge.
store in any community. So we gave them an easement out onto Jerry's Park. That's where you see the new doors are in the side.
Yeah, it looks great.
Same thing with the building across the street, across the park. We gave him an easement. Now he has 3 businesses there. They'll have about 4 new businesses over at Montgomery Ward, and they're going to have 24 units. So that made it affordable. When you can rent your commercial space, we know they're going to rent the residential,
Right.
but it makes the whole project work. And they did some park improvements. You look at that brick along their building. That's all done by them.
Yep.
As part of an exchange. We gave it to them for $1, the easement,
Okay.
and they're making a multi-million-dollar investment. And the only difference is they'll be able to open the door up on the side of the building and rent out several spaces.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm glad those people came to our community because they've done nothing but fix it up and make it look really well. You know, they've bought a lot of the houses that were run down and everything like that. So I mean, just the way they're turning it around, like, and they don't mess around either. They come in, they just redo the whole thing and rent it out, or they move in, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think when you can find a group or an investor that's willing to do it the right way, and I think, you know, I don't think you guys are going to settle for anything less. Like, you're not going to come in and half-ass a project. You got to come in and do it the right way.
Well, in the downtown district, we have an architectural review board.
Okay.
So there's nothing that can be done on the exterior of the building without going to the architectural review board. And they will determine the colors. They will determine the windows. For example, if you look at 14 East Main Street, the
Okay.
windows are beautiful arched windows, tall. But the windows that are in there from 30 years ago are a little rectangular window with a plywood with the arches.
Oh,
That you can never do.
right.
You look at players now.
Yeah.
Upstairs are players. We were able to get a grant. The new owners of the building, they went for the grant, and they put in the beautiful arched windows. And there's a big difference when you look at players today and players of yesterday. The same thing with some of the buildings where the old Carmines were Mr. Croissant and
Yep.
Days Coffee. Look at the upper floors. Look at the big before and after pictures of those buildings, and you'll see a huge change. So the Architectural Review Board keeps control about how a building can be rehabbed. Sort of operates like a historic district,
Yeah.
but it's not the same. But we want things to be uniform, blade signs rather than just metal attached to a building. So all of these things play into what we're doing, and we're just fortunate that we're able to go to these conferences and learn about what other communities are doing. And as I said, we didn't invent it. We just took a piece here and a piece there, and it's all working for us.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's what it needs to be.
Yeah.
It needs to work for you.
And it is working.
All right, I got one last question for you.
Shoot.
I saved this one for last. Will marijuana ever be legal in the city of Middletown?
Well, marijuana is legal.
Well, will you ever have shops
Well,
or consumption sites? Will you ever allow it?
I can't say no. What I can say is that one, we're working with one of the largest producers, packaging producers, called Jeter,
Okay.
for a production outfit over here in Industrial Park,
Okay.
which will be about 100 to 150 jobs. No retail there. When we were reluctant to get in because we had very little confidence that the state would be able to regulate it correctly, especially the on-premise portion of it. The state has enough trouble regulating bars with liquor licenses that cause problems.
Yep.
And we wanted to see, and we want to see a pattern over the years. But people can still smoke pot in Middletown. They can, I would hope they would use it in a way that doesn't
Respectful.
offend people. But
Yeah.
but we are not out. We're not ruling it out. But we're ruling it out until the state gets its act together. And for example, if you have a on-premise user, seller, where they can sit down at the coffee shop and have smoke pot, but it has to be identified as that type of business.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
Got to be a consumption site.
consumption site. What if they screw up? What if they're doing the wrong thing? Do we have any local enforcement authority? Unlike the liquor authority, we don't have that authority.
Right.
And I think that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for there'd be more local input into the revocation of a premise that is, for example, doesn't have the appropriate equipment in place.
Right.
Or is the whole block going to smell? Is the whole building going to smell?
Yeah.
But the state regulators, they're overwhelmed. What about illegal sales? So these are the questions that we have. We want to see them build up their enforcement part. They are making money. The local money is not that significant at this. We have about a $55, $60 million budget. I think Kingston's bringing in maybe $100,000 a year from their portion. So it's not necessarily the money. but it's the regulation and how you regulate it, which is our big concern. So
And
the answer to your question is
Maybe.
maybe.
well, and when this all happened, I mean, it was very quickly rolled out, but as unfortunately in typical fashion, there weren't a lot of directives.
Exactly.
And that's, I'd seen that when it first came out, like, well, what do we do? Right? Because in my experience, we had similar problems where a ton of places moved in, and then the chief was like, well, how do we enforce this? And the answer was like, well, I don't know. I don't know how to enforce it, because
Yeah.
they threw it out with really no directive and no enforcement arm, because like you said, everybody in Albany is busy. So you're kind of left to your own devices. And if it's legal and everything is up to par to a degree, there's really not much teeth for law enforcement to do anything on a local level.
Because there's no direct criminality.
Correct. Right.
But they might be violating.
Right. So now you have to bring
Your
code compliance in and try to,
Exactly.
but like after you've done all that, you're like, is the juice worth the squeeze?
Exactly.
So I agree. I understand your position as to why, like, let's wait for this, like wait for the dust to settle and see where it all falls.
And we're looking at strip malls where they have on-site, throughout the state, where they have on-site consumption. And we're looking to see what happens to the business next door. Does it turn around? And
If it's a pizza place, they're going to make
does
a lot of
well,
money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a dessert place.
But the pizza place might
Right.
lose.
Yeah, might lose mom and
Family
pop
Guy
shops.
coming into it.
Exactly.
So those are the questions that we have, and I think we'll take our time on it. But we, even Colorado, they were the first out of the gate. They've changed the law
Yeah.
quite significantly. Because
Well, yeah, because it was the Wild West when that happened.
Exactly.
Yeah, they were like, we got to walk this back.
Exactly.
Yeah, whoa.
California has made some significant changes in their laws because of the apartment complexes, what was happening.
Yeah.
Like right now, we get calls from people who live in an apartment building that is a strong odor of marijuana in my building.
Right.
I have a 5-year-old kid or a 10-year-old kid, and what is it? There's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
But they did make something in the law where a landlord can make their building non-smoking.
Yep.
And then there's an enforcement part where the police can then document what's going on, and that gives the landlord the ability to evict somebody. Whereas before it was legal, but that's up to the landlord, and that's up for the tenant to choose a building that may be smoke-free. So we're trying to bring it all together. We don't want to make a mistake, but at the same time, we understand that it's pretty popular, and the pizza places by the slice will do quite well.
Yeah.
That and the Door Dashers will be busy.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, do you have anything more? Do you have any more questions for him?
No.
I'm tapped out. Do you have anything else you'd like to talk about before we get out of here?
Well, we started with programs about young people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And investment, and I think you need to look at our park system too. We're like Raylan Berthoff is now running our parks. We expanded into the Woolslayer Field, added football fields and soccer fields, the reservoir trails, all great additions to the community. The recreation campus that we have, we're now looking at a downtown recreation facility so that the walkers have more accessibility. We're into the theater and arts programs with the Paramount, so we're also looking at smaller theater programs. So we want to keep kids busy. We want parents to feel comfortable coming into a city program, and we want to make sure that we'll see the results like we have with police interacting with kids. The more programs we're offering, the more confidence people will have in funding these programs, and the results will be very positive for the community. So we're very focused on our kids. We do a lot with the seniors too. So, and that's what community is about, and that's what we're all about. And we hope to keep it running and moving in the right direction. Thank the community for supporting everything we're doing, especially financially. We get a slight increase every year. We have significantly high water and sewer bills. We're making investments in our water and sewer system, so it takes money. So the community's been supportive of it at this point, and I thank them all for doing so.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
we
we
appreciate
appreciate
your
it.
time.
Voice.
There's water there for you. You
Yeah,
barely
I know,
drink it.
I'm going to take it with me.
Well, you totally can because it's open and now it's yours. Well, thank you so much,
Yeah, thank you.
Mayor Joe. We really appreciate you coming on with us. If you'd like to come on with us, it's real easy. You can just send us a message, hvp.scotty@gmail.com, or
hvp.joey@gmail.com.
and you can find us on the gram.
At _HVEP.
That's it. Thanks for listening.
Okay, guys, thanks.
Take care.
Set.
from the mountains